Okay. Oh. 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 ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पतान् शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं हरिः ओं श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओं हरि हरि ओं some of us have met before and I think there are quite a few others who have joined in newly. So I welcome you all and pray to Gurudev and the Guru Parampara that this study that we are taking up today, that of this text, this beautiful text, Yoga Vasistha, which was written by whom? None other than Rishi Valmiki. This is what we are taking up for our study right now. I invoke the grace and blessings of the Guru Parampara, of Lord Sri Ramji, of our Pujya Guruji, who has, very compassionately written this short, condensed form version of this elaborate text, which is of 32,000 verses originally, but which Guruji has, to give us a glimpse into what this brilliant text is, he has condensed it into 86 verses, and that is what we are taking up for our own study right now. So we will start with this. Now, just to give you a brief introduction, today's session will be that we will take an introduction of this text. Now, basically, this Vasishtha, Yoga Vasistha is the name of the text. It is also referred to as Jnana Vasistha. Okay, Yoga Vasistha. Vasistha over here is indicating the dialogue between Rishi Vasishtha, Rishi Vasishtha, sorry, who was the Kulaguru, of Sri Ramji, and he is the one whom Lord Ramji is asking questions, and this dialogue between the two is what has been recorded as the Yoga Vasistha. Now, yoga over here, yoga means what? Yoga means that which is a union. Union of what? Union of this individuality. Individuality, this jiva that each of us is. Each of us, even though is a seeker of that truth which is non-dual, which is advaita, which is non-dual, right? We are seeking that ultimate truth, which is the self of everyone. But right now, who are we? We are this individuality. We are identified with our own unique individuality, which we call the jivatva, the jiva bhava. So, yoga, when we say, yoga is what? Yoga is the union of whom? union of this individuality, which is seeking that non-dual swarupa of oneself, or the truth of oneself. So this Yoga Vasistha is conveying that union of an individual to its ultimate truth. Jnana, if we take it as, why is it called Jnana Vasishta? Jnana Vasishta, when the Jnana, which the word Jnana will indicate not just commonplace knowledge, but that knowledge which is again conveying that very truth of one's swarupa, of one's nature, of one's true identity to us. So that truth which is revealed in the form of that knowledge is this jnana. Okay. So again, so what is it that Ramji is asking? Wouldn't you say that Lord Rama himself is the knower, or is the Jnana Swarupa? So yes, of course, in his absolute form, he is that. But here there is a context in which he is in a dilemma and he is seeking certain questions, certain answers to know the truth of life. And in that alone, what are the questions, or what is the dilemma that one faces normally? That of means not that of where will my earning come from next, or where should I travel next. This is not the questions that we generally look up on Google, right? Not even of mental health, etc. No. Here what Bhagwan is asking, what Ramji is asking, is about the hardcore reality of life. If I have taken birth, why is it that there is death also? Why is it that the happiness that I derive from whatever pursuit that I take up in the world, why is it that it is not giving me that permanent happiness? And where do I seek that permanent happiness? What is my true identity? That which I see in the world, it seems to be, momentary, because it is pertaining to certain circumstances. It is pertaining to certain people that I know. And of course, when you say that this body is going to die, then what happens to those relations? That which I pledge to have, people pledge to have such permanent roles, or people pledge to have the same partner over and over, so many lives, etc. So, does that really have a reality? What if there is continuity? Where is that continuity? Right? So many things, so many dilemmas that we have in our life. That of even, we meet people and then we get separated from them also. We have, we have momentary joys in terms of whatever achievements we have. And then there is also the grief of not having those joys over longer periods of time, or not having that particular status that I have earned extended to me over many more years, or many more relationships even. So why is there this kind of impermanency in my life? If there is happiness, why can't it stay for longer and longer? Why is it that everything is momentary? And where do I seek that permanency? And if I have to seek my own identity, how do I go about it? Who am I? Hmm. So these kind of questions which trouble us, which we try to find answers to, these are the kind of questions that Ramji is going to ask. Whom? He is going to ask Rishi Vasishta, Rishi Vasishta. Hmm. And the dialogue between them is called Vasishta. Okay, Yoga Vasistha. So here, now further, understanding why this text, as we said, who is the author of this text? Author of the text is the same author who has authored the Ramayana. And that is Rishi Valmiki. So it is, if you say that, the Ramayana was some 20,000 plus verses, suppose if we say, then 32,000 verses is what this Yoga Vasistha is. Okay, so it is said to be Maharamayana. It is a text separate from Ramayana itself. So if you try to go and search in Valmiki Ramayana, where is the occurrence of this? It is not there. It is not specifically mentioned there. So too, if you go and if you check the other versions which came later, of that of even Tulsi Ramayana and others, it is not mentioned there. This text by itself is distinct. So, and it is, as we said, it is that which was compiled by whom? By Sage Valmiki ji. And he, as we said, 32,000 verses is what comprises this particular text. And it is written in a very Puranic style. Puranic style, what does that mean? So it means that it has a lot of elaboration. If we look at what is what is distinctive between Upanishads, as in Shruti and Purana, is that Upanishads are very concise. That knowledge which is given, there too there is the dialogue between the teacher and the student. But here, specifically, as compared to an Upanishad, the dialogue is more elaborate. If there is a description given, that description is going to give further details. Like if we want to know how was the nature there, how was the kind of topography, or what was the kind of plant life available over there, in what was the environment in which Ramji was, etc., or what were the different stories that are mentioned over there, they are much more elaborate. Whereas in Upanishad, the mantras are very concise. They are as though codified to give us that knowledge. Which knowledge? That of Jiva Brahma Aikya. Jiva Brahma Aikya. I hope that is clearer to us. I know most of us have studied, right? So Jiva is who? Jiva is this individuality. And Brahma is that entirety, that very truth, that non-dual truth, that of Sat Chit Ananda. That which is existence, consciousness, bliss, that which is infinite, ananta, nirguna, nirakara. The identity between this jiva, this limited individual who is having name and form, and that infinitude, that which is the very cause of everything, that which is the very substratum of everything, the identity between the two is what is revealed in the Upanishads. So in the Puranas too, this very truth is what is being told. The purport of the Puranas is also the same, but what is the method with which it is given? What is the style in which it is given? Here in the Puranas, there is much more elaboration. There is much more, you know, what we would say as relevance given to our own lives. And there are many more stories which are given, right? So therefore, this, you know, therefore you will say that, oh, 32,000 verses. So if 32,000 verses were given, why are we not studying all 32,000? So yes, it would be great to do that, but we just have the dearth of time. And I know everyone wants to have very instant knowledge these days, right? At your fingertips. So here, the 32,000 is the complete text of Yoga Vasistha, right? This was by, you know, later on, it was condensed to 6,000 verses by another great Mahatma, right? And that abridged version was called the Laghu Yoga Vasistha. Okay. And, you know, and Guruji, who has compiled this text, you know, which is called the Yogavasishtha Sara Sangraha. So this text, it has 86 verses, which Guruji condensed from where? From another book which he found, which had 1,000 verses. Okay, this all is given. Okay, this is given in the introduction of the book. I'm just making it known to you. So here, as we said, these Guruji himself tells that this, you know, these 86 verses are going to give us only a glimpse into that whole elaborate text. And of course, to get the text down to 86 verses, you have to have studied much of it over and over to understand the depth of it, and then cull out that which is specifically required to give us this opportunity to learn it, right? And why should we learn only the 86? 86 is going to give us that glimpse into, you know, the terms, terminology, also what is the concept of it, and, you know, glimpse through its commentary. You will also get a glimpse of the stories, etc., which we will see, right? But more importantly, it should give us that inspiration to study further. So our study should not be limited to only this 86. If we are able to go further, then we should go further also. So that is the whole purport of this. So here too, it is wonderful to see how so many of the Mahatmas, you know, of course, many scholars, but many Mahatmas also have taken inspiration from this text, such as Ramakrishna Paramahamsa ji, such as Ramana Maharshi ji. They would refer to this text, and they would also call out the various stories that are mentioned here. So again, we'll see how much of it we will be able to do justice to. So here again, the original work is divided into 6 sections. First part over there is the Vairagya Prakaranam. Vairagya Prakaranam, there where it is speaking of dispassion. Fine. Then the second part is about Mumukshu Prakaranam. That longing or that craving or that urge for liberation, that is spoken of, that is explained in the Mumukshu Prakaranam. Then is the next one is Utpatti, Sthiti and Upashama Prakaranam. So these 3 are speaking about this creation. So Utpatti is speaking about the creation of this manifestation. Sthiti about the sustenance. Upashama is speaking about the dissolution. Okay. So Utpatti, then Sthiti and Upashama. These 3 which are to do with this world, are to do with this creation, this manifestation in which all of us are, right? That is spoken of, that is explained in these three, under these three topics. And the last prakarana is the Nirvana prakarana. Nirvana prakarana is speaking about moksha or liberation. And of course, this is how the text is divided in the original. These 6 sections are what are spoken of in the original text. In the text which Guruji has compiled, Guruji, when we say Guruji, it is Swami Tejomayananda, Pujya Swami Tejomayananda. I'm sure most of you might be familiar with this name. He's the one who has been an inspiration to us all, and has taken up many different works, of which Yogavasishthasarasangraha Sara Sangraha is one. And if you haven't got the book, you can check up on the website on it. This book is also now called the Yogavasistha Nidarshani. Okay. If you are not seeing the name, the earlier name of the book was Yogavasishthasarasangraha Sara Sangraha. Now, if you are not finding that, it is basically called Yogavasistha Nidarshini. Okay, fine. Now, the 7 topics that are taken, that, one is that which is the yearning for this knowledge by Lord Ramji, which is, then next is the preparatory teachings which are given by Sage Vasishta. Then is the Siddhanta, the knowledge of the self, which is elaborated. Next topic is the Jivan Mukta Lakshanas, or the Sthita Prajna Lakshanas, which are nothing but the characteristics of a realized master. Then is the Sapta Bhumikas, the stages of spiritual knowledge. And the 6th topic is the destiny of the ignorant one as compared to the seekers of knowledge. What happens to one who is in complete ignorance as compared to those who are on this path to spirituality? And then what are the obstacles in this path that each one of us will come upon from time to time? So here is something that has been spoken of, so that we are aware, that it is nothing new, that those who have walked this path have already faced this, and therefore there is no reason to stop. What we have to do is just keep walking. So keep walking how? By taking the guidance of these Mahatmas and their lives. And here is the best example through this text, because these questions which Ramji is going to ask Sage Vasishta, right? These are the same kind of questions that we have faced in our lives, right? So, as the wise have already faced this kind of pursuit, and they have attained this ultimate goal, there is no reason why we should stop, and why we should not pursue it, why we should not strive to attain that ultimate, when right here and now there is no time like the present for it. So now going on to it. So how is this story starting? Where does it begin? Because as we said, in the Ramayana, in the Valmiki Ramayana, which has 24,000 plus verses, it is not mentioned over there, right? So where does this, what is the whole context of this conversation, and how does it come about? So here there is Rishi Bharadwaj. Bharadwaj was the student of Rishi Valmiki, and he comes up to his teacher one day and he asks him, this life of Lord Rama, it seems to be so difficult, you know. If one was in such a situation where one day, you're called and you're told that tomorrow is going to be the day when you are going to be crowned the king of Ayodhya. And just the previous night, I mean, just after a few hours, he's told, okay, forget about that coronation. Now you have to leave for that forest. And you have to be there for 14 years. And you don't take anything with you. Just leave. Right? So, and then of course, the journey was also not so simple later. He comes across so many obstacles. Even the 14 years was not something which is, something that he could say that he had gone on a vacation, on a wildlife sanctuary. No, no. Here, here he had to go through so many trials and tribulations, and yet he was able to face it. So how is it, how was his life, and what was the kind of attitude that he had, and how did he come upon it? So many questions that, Bharadwaj had about Ramji. Then Rishi Valmiki starts with this story about how there was one point of time when Rama was a young lad and just back from his Gurukula, and he was completely, completely withdrawn from whatever joys and pleasures that were being offered to him in the palace in Ayodhya. And he was not ready to speak to anyone. He was just staying by himself, completely, as though depressed. And there is when this dialogue comes about between Sage Vasishta, Vasishta, and Rama. So this is where, Rama's dilemma is making him seek answers to his questions. And whom does he approach? He approaches Sage Vasishta. But then how did that come about? So we have to understand that the whole dialogue begins with whom? The context is first Bharadwaj, who is the disciple of Valmiki, asking the question about how Rama lived his life. And how did he go about facing so many situations? What is it that kept him grounded? And in answer to that is where Valmiki ji talks of this episode. So where does that episode begin? The episode begins when these four princes, they had gone to their Gurukul, and which was, in an isolated place in the forest, and they learned the art of warfare and all the other, knowledges that are required for being, being the responsible Kshatriyas who would take up their role in Ayodhya, in the governance of Ayodhya. And here is where, once they are back, before they are back, actually, they are told, okay, instead of coming back directly to Ayodhya, why not you go for a tour of the country? So they go for a tour of the country, and the whole objective being they come to know how the normal folk in the kingdom are living. What are their trials and tribulations? How is it that they get their earning? How is it? What are the problems they face as compared to just being in the palace and living a luxurious life? They have to come to know, now that they have gained the knowledge, they have gained the knowledge not only of warfare, but also administration, also of the supreme truth. Okay. So they have gained all this, but now they should also know how to implement it and for whom what is essential. So therefore they go on a tour, and once they are back, Rama is the one who is very disturbed. More than disturbed, he seems to be in some kind of um, dilemma or contemplation. Yet he is keeping to himself. He is not speaking to anyone. And that's when Vishwamitra ji, right? He comes, right? And he, right, is asking the King Dashrath for the help or assistance of these four princes, where in his ashram. Now, Vishwamitra Muni, when he is in his ashram in the forest, he is facing these demons, these asuras who are causing a lot of havoc and terrifying, the ashramvasis there, and not allowing them to perform the rituals that they are performing. And as a safeguarding measure, or as a protection for them, Vishwamitra is asking Dashratha to send these princes to him in the forest. Now, Dashratha, he is very skeptical, because he says that, just now they got back, my young princes, and in that they went for a tour, and now Rama is completely lost. And following in his footsteps, his brothers are also not coming out. They are also keeping to themselves. So now, how do I tell you yes or no? It is not that I don't want to send them, but please understand my situation. So Vishwamitra says, fine, let me go and have a glimpse at what is troubling this young man. So he goes and he checks, and Rama seems to be not in a depression. He realizes that Rama is more in a mature contemplative state of mind, where having seen the truth about life, when he goes and he meets the people, when he lives among the folk in the in the countryside, he realizes that life is not all happiness. Life is not the kind of joys that he had seen in the palace. There is much grief at the end of each episode. So each episode, each experience that we go through, there is no kind of a permanent happiness. There is old age, there is death, there is separation. And at the end of each success, there is grief. So again, he wants to know why this is so, and what is the solution for it. And this is when Vishwamitra Rishi, he goes back to Dashratha, and he advises him, say, hey, your son, he is not in a depression. He's just seeking some answers. And these answers, who can give? Your Kulguru, Vasishtha Muni. He can be the one who can give you these answers. So therefore, it is that the dialogue between Rama and Rama and Vasishtha Rishi comes about. And this is what is comprising the core of this entire text, Yoga Vasistha. Of course, it ends with, again, it begins with the dialogue between Bharadwaja Rishi and Vasishtha Rishi, right? Vasishtha nahi, Valmiki Rishi, right? Bharadwaja and Valmiki is the one, whose dialogue starts this context, and the text concludes also with their dialogue alone. And yeah, so we will start, this text by the Mangalacarana. I hope you have the text with you. And just for the sake of those who don't, I'm putting out the PDF for this. Yatas sarvani bhutani pratibhanti sthitani cha yatraivopashamam yanti tasmai satyatmane namaha. So this particular shloka, what is it conveying? It is conveying the offering of salutations or Mangalacharana for this when we start the text. Okay, I will chant it once more. Yatas sarvani bhutani pratibhanti sthitani cha yatraivopashamam yanti tasmai satyatmane namaha. So whom are we offering our salutations to? So here, this normally when we have this kind of a Mangala Charana, more actually all the texts that we take up for study, right? They will have a Mangala Charana to begin with, and there are different types of Mangala Charana. One will be in terms of offering a salutation, and the salutation could be towards the Devata, towards the Ishta Devata to whom this text is being offered, or it could be towards the Guru, or a combination of the two. It could also state the purpose of the text, which is here actually that is what is conveyed in this particular Mangalacharana, which is what it is talking about the salutation is being offered to whom? To that Atma, that Vastu. What is that Vastu? Yeah, that Satyatma. That Satyatma, that truth which is our own true self. Okay. So, what is that truth? So, here it is saying, Yatas Sarvani Bhutani. That from which all the beings, all the things and beings emerge. Okay. Yatas sarvani bhutani. How do you know that that it is saying that of that from which every being is emerging? So here it says pratibhanti sthitani cha. Pratibhanti, here though pratibhanti is indicating that they appear. They appear, when we say they appear, it means that they are born, or they manifest. Okay. And sthitanicha, in which they are, they are sustained. And the third state, what is that? Yatra eva upashamam yanti. Upashamam, there where they finally merge, or there where they attain dissolution. To that Satyatma, to that truth, to that existence, consciousness, to that Satyatma, we offer our salutations. So here, this particular shloka, it is the Mangalacharana where we are offering this, salutation to that particular truth, which is the substance of everything, which is the vastu, we might say. So here, how are we talking about that truth? This is also telling the core of this text. Okay, what is the core of that text? The core of this text, as we said, it is conveyed as that Brahma, Jiva Brahma Aikya. So Jiva Brahma Aikya is talking of what? Is talking of that ultimate truth, which is our own Swarupa. So how is this truth conveyed? In Vedanta, the method of indicating that truth is done in two ways. Okay, one is through Tatastha Lakshana and the other is through Swarupa Lakshana. When we say that it is Swarupa Lakshana, it means that direct indications are given to what? To that very inherent nature of that substance or that truth. So when we say Satya Atma, so that is talking of what? That is talking of that existence consciousness, which is that truth alone, which is what? Which is my nature alone. Okay. So that is the Swarupa Lakshana, where there is a direct indication given, which is inherent to that object or that that subject that we are speaking of. Right? So that is Swarupa Lakshana. And then you have the Tatastha Lakshana. Tatastha as in, Tatastha is indicating bank. What is bank? Bank is in terms of, the river bank. Okay. So when we are indicating some object by indicating an associated object, associated extrinsic temporary object. Okay. So therefore it is called Tatastha. So if we look in terms of a river, the banks of the river are external to the river, extrinsic to it, right? And also the bank of the river is not going to be permanent. It is not a permanent relation, right? So you can't say, this is the same bank, right? Or like if you want to give an example, if we are indicating the address of some person and we say that, that house, that house which has a red car outside it, that is where he stays. So if you say red car outside it, maybe that car is parked there, maybe that car is not parked. Then how will you say it is permanent? It is not a permanent indicator. It is a temporary indicator. And therefore it is a Tatastha Lakshana. And that car is not part of that house. Right? It is external to it and it is not permanently associated with it. Okay. I hope this example is clear. If I had to say that house which is pink, right? Then you would say that, okay, that is what? That pinkness is inherent to that house. It is not, it is inseparable from that house, right? So therefore that is the Swarupa Lakshana. But when I say that house which has a red car outside it, that red car is a extrinsic indicator which is not permanent, which is temporary, and therefore it is called Tatastha Lakshana. Now you will say that why have you told us this, this Swarupa Lakshana and this Tatastha Lakshana? So here we have to understand that when we are talking of this self, that Satyatma, that Satyatma is definitely Swarupa Lakshana, right? It is an indicator of that truth which is nameless, formless, attributeless, right? Nirguna, Nirakara. But it is Satya. It is that which is that existence. Now, to indicate it with something which has name and form, because to begin with I have to have something to grasp, right? How am I going to reach that unknown without some known indicator, right? And therefore we have this Tatastha Lakshana. I hope that concept is clear. And for this, what is the Tatastha Lakshana here in this verse which is being used? So here if we see in this Mangalacarana, what is told? It is say, Yatas sarvani bhutani pratibhanti sthitani cha yatraevopashamam yanti. So that that this pratibhanti sthitani cha yatra eva upashamam yanti. So what are we talking of? We are talking of this creation. This creation, sustenance and dissolution, which happens in this manifestation, right? So that is visible to me. This world that we are talking of, right? Which appears, which is sustained, which dissolves, right? What does it dissolve into? It dissolves into that cause, which is unmanifest. Okay. That is right now visible to me. Okay. That though it seems to be, extrinsic to that unmanifest cause, it is part of that cause, right? It is not which is permanent even, right? Because that from which beings emerge, stay and dissolve, right? So are these beings permanent? The beings are not permanent, right? The things and beings, they are not permanent. That which manifests is not permanent, but that it comes from this cause, that it is the effect of this cause is indicating that the cause exists. Okay, so therefore this is the tatastha lakshana of that truth. Therefore, even if we don't know where to begin looking for that Brahman, look at yourself, look at the world around you. That it is visible, that it is functioning, means what? Means that there is that truth which is governing everything. That is the cause of everything, right? And that is that Satyatma. Okay. So I hope that it is clear the context of this Swarupa and Tatastha. Okay. Why it is spoken of here. So here then, here when we have seen this, Pratibhanti means to shine, okay? Upashama is to merge. I hope you have the book, then each word is also, their meaning has been given. So that which is the very origin or the source or the substratum of the entire creation, that is the very truth of everything. That is basically the essence of this verse. Okay, and that essence of everything is what we are offering our salutations to. Okay, so this is the first verse, and this is indicating that supreme truth through which there is the appearance and there is the disappearance of the world. Okay, so though the world is appearing and disappearing, we have to know that on which or that which is the basis of this appearance and disappearance is that very supreme truth alone, right? So we have the direct indicator and the indirect indicator also. Okay, the world, again, to bring into context, the world is not independent. The world requires this non-changing constant substratum for it to appear and disappear, right? For it to function. And that truth is that which is absolute, which will never die, which has no beginning and has no end even. Fine, right? So that is that Satyatmane, that Satyatma is my Swarupa. So this Vastu Nirdeshatmaka Mangalacarana is what we will call this. Okay. This, we said the first verse, what are we doing? We are offering our salutations. And what is the type of this Mangalacarana? It is called the vastu nirdeshatmaka vakya. Okay. So I am offering my salutations to that Paramatma, which is the supreme truth of all beings, in which this world rises, is sustained, and dissolves. So this is why we have told, right? And what is the purport of this entire text? What is the Vastu Nirdesha? The purport of this entire text is that, that supreme truth, which is the knowledge of that supreme truth, which is Brahma Atma Aikya. Okay, Brahma Atma Aikya. So, and then now to understand whom is this text for? Okay, who can follow this text? Is there some kind of eligibility required? Do I have to, have some kind of scholarly knowledge before I get into studying this text? Or can I just, take it and start reading? So in all our texts, this is also the greatness of the teachers, that they mention why is, what is the purpose of the text and what is the objective of it, and will your interest match with it? So here is the adhikaritva. Who is the one who can take to the study of this text? So here he says, aham baddho vimuktasyam iti asyasti nishchayah natyanta natyanta natyantam adnyano tadnyah sosmin shastre dhikaravan. So here he says, aham baddho vimuktasyam iti yasyasti nishchayah natyantam adnyah. Okay, that word is what? Natyantam adnyah no tadnyah sosmin shastre dhikaravan. So who is this text for? Who is the one who is qualified to study the scripture? Who has, the one who has this, this kind of a troubling thought in mind, where he says that I am feeling very bound, I am feeling very limited, and I don't want to be like this permanently. I want my own freedom. I want my liberation. So that person, that seeker who is not happy with the world, you will say that, but everyone is not happy with the world. Everyone has some kind of complaints. No one is going to be without complaints. No one is completely happy. So, but in that also there are variations. Some people are completely unaware and ignorant, and some people are, they have understood the nature of the world, and they have evolved to that higher stature also. So are they included in this, in this eligibility criteria? Or who is the one who can study again? Can you make it clear? So here, Vasishtha ji, he says over there, right? Here he says that, so the one who is neither completely ignorant, those who are saying that I'm fine as I am. The world is like this only, and I have come to terms with it, and I don't need any further knowledge. I will make do. Sab chalta hai, and don't trouble me with these kind of things. It will already, so much stress is there. Now you will put another stress in it and tell that the world is full of grief and all. Sorry, I don't want to know. Whatever joys I get, I am happy with it. So that ignorant person is not the one for whom this text is. Okay. Then you might have some people who have already gained the purport of life, who have already evolved to that stature, who need not now go into any kind of intellection further, because they have understood the truth, and they have gone beyond the worldly troubles. So it is not for them either, right? So then whom is it for? So it is for those of us who say that, I have gone through life's experiences and I am seeing that despite various achievements, despite various, happiness that I have gained, the world is not giving me a permanent solution to my problems. The world is making me more and more acquire, things which are in the world. And that which is changing, how will it give me something which is permanent? If I am seeking that permanent happiness, I know that it is not going to come from the world. So you give me a proper solution. So for those aspirants who have said that enough, I am not going to look at the temporary solutions from the world, from the material happiness. I want that truth which will liberate me, which will not make me feel limited. So it is for that person, right? So therefore, what is told? First one is told, na adnya. Not those who are completely adnya. Adnya as in those who are completely ignorant and don't know, are not aware also about the truth. Then not to those who are tadnya, completely already who have attained that truth. But it is for those who are seeking a solution, and they are seeking a solution for that truth, which is declared in the Upanishads and these texts. Okay, so here Guruji also tells who is the kind of people who are ignorant. So those who believe that this body is the only truth. Dehoham iti jadasya vrittihi. Right? Those who think that this body alone is my truth. There is nothing beyond this body. I was not there before the body was born. Once the body was born, I came into existence. I will live my life now, and then afterwards, again, there is nothing. Right? So those people are the ones who are ignorant. Because what? The body is going to die. But this jivatva, your individuality is what is going to continue. Okay? So they are not aware of that. Then there is also those who are, giving reality to the world. Jagati satyatva buddhihi. Those who say that the world is real. So I see it and therefore it is. So what should I do? So there is no truth about this world. If you are saying that there is something beyond, that the world is not real, then I don't believe it. Then you say, okay, boss, you're be happy in your understanding, right? So to what, there are those who think that body is real. They will also give reality to the happiness that they derive from objects. Vishayeshu sukhadaya shaha. So they will feel that because I am, because my body is, I have to keep my body nourished with its sense pleasures, and therefore those sense pleasures are also real, right? So this kind of people, right, those who have this kind of mindset, they are the ones who are ignorant. And that, the fact that all of us are here in this session says that we are not belonging to that criteria. Okay, we are not belonging to this ignorant criteria. We are aware of this truth, and of course, we are definitely the adhikari of this text. We are the ones who are eligible to study this text. Of course, there is a variation in the gradation or the degree to which we have this mumukshutva or this jidnyasa. Mumukshutva, the burning desire for liberation. And what does mumukshutva here say? Aham baddhaha vimuktasyam. I am bound and I don't want to be bound. I want my freedom. I don't want to be bound any longer. I want to get out of this cycle of birth and death. So give me that solution. So those who have that awareness and are willing to put forth their any energies, or their struggle is towards that freedom, they are the ones who are mumukshus. Now, is it sufficient that I have only this mumukshutva? No, I should also be a jidnyasu. I should know. Jidnyasu is the one who is a seeker of knowledge. Okay. Now here jidnyasu is the seeker of that ultimate knowledge, right? Which will give me freedom from this ignorance. Okay. So I have to be both. I have to have that burning desire for liberation, and I should know that this knowledge is important. Only then will I put forth action towards gaining that ultimate goal. Okay. So we have to know that a happy slave is the worst enemy of freedom. Okay. So we should not become a slave and say that I'm fine in my ignorance, you do what you want, right? But we should struggle to attain that ultimate. Okay. So here is, here is a situation which is presented in that Yoga Vasistha, where Ramji himself is asking these kind of questions to himself. Asking his questions to the teacher, ki, where is that mukti? Where will I come out of this cycle of birth and death, which I saw people suffering too? If people are suffering, I too am I going to not be spared from it. So give me that solution, right? And this is what we are going to go through. This is what we are going to seek through this text. We'll stop here. Sorry, I have taken extra time here. And we'll continue in the next session. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Hari Om. Thank you.